Have you ever heard the story of Ronald Reed, the unassuming janitor who quietly accumulated over $8 million by the time he passed away in 2014? Yes, you heard that right. A janitor. $8 million. No lottery ticket, no inheritance, no Silicon Valley startup, no sudden overnight success. Just a man who swept floors, fixed broken doors, changed oil filters, and punched the time clock like everyone else, yet built a fortune most people never see in a lifetime. How? Not through brilliance, not through secret formulas, not through a high-level finance degree. He simply understood something that most of the world never learns. Money is far more about behavior than intelligence, more about character than calculations, more about discipline than diplomas, more about perspective than predictions. Morgan Housel puts it perfectly. Financial success is not a hard science. It is a soft skill where how you behave is far more important than what you know. What's fascinating is that this soft skill isn't new. Long before modern finance, long before Wall Street, long before the stock market existed, the Bible taught these behavioral principles with astonishing accuracy. Jesus spoke more about money, possessions, stewardship, and heart motives than almost any other subject, because money reveals how we think, what we value, and who we trust. So today, if you give me the next 15-20 minutes, you will discover the psychology of money through the lens of Christian wisdom, scripture-based clarity, and real-world insight. This is Scripture Vision, where we combine biblical truth with practical life lessons to help you build peace, stability, and purpose in every area of life. Let's dive deeper into a world where financial wisdom meets eternal truth. Principle number 1. The cost of wisdom. Every blessing has a price. Let's start with a simple scenario. Imagine you walk into a store looking for a new watch, a sleek, shiny watch, a watch that turns heads, a watch that complements your confidence and impresses the person you're dating. You pick it up, you feel its weight, you admire its design. Now you have a simple choice. Pay the price, or try to sneak out with it and run. Even if you've been hitting the gym, chances are you're not sprinting out of the stores with a stolen watch. You pull out your card, you swipe, you accept the cost. Why? Because you understand something fundamental, and everything valuable has a price attached to it. And that includes wealth. The world glamorizes getting rich, but it hides the cost required to stay disciplined long enough to actually grow wealth. Just like the watch, investing has a fee, and the fee is volatility. The fee is uncertainty. The fee is emotional discomfort. The fee is staying calm when your portfolio dips 20% in a week. The fee is trusting long-term growth when the short-term looks ugly. Most people want the reward without paying the emotional price. Think about Netflix. Imagine if you had recognized the future of streaming 10 years earlier and went all in. Today, you might be wealthy beyond anything you imagined. But here's the real question. Could you have emotionally survived the journey? In 2011, Netflix lost a flood of customers. The stock price crashed by 80% in a matter of months. People panicked. Investors sold. Experts predicted doom. Would you have survived that moment? Would you have stayed calm when your savings evaporated on paper? Would you have had peace when your spouse asked, "What happened to our money?" Would you have kept believing when fear screamed louder than faith? The truth is, you cannot receive the blessing if you refuse the price. And Scripture confirms this principle long before modern finance discovered it. Proverbs 21:5 teaches, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." Diligence has a price. Patience has a price. Consistency has a price. Faithfulness has a price. Even the Apostle Paul understood the emotional fee attached to long-term growth. In Galatians 6:9, he says, "Do not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not give up." If we do not give up, there's the cost, there's the price, there's the emotional volatility, both in life and in finances. Stock markets rise, they fall, they crash, they recover. And yet the long-term trend, like the long-term work of God, is upward for those who stay the course. Even if you invested in the S&P 500 in 1980, you would still have endured 13 years where your investment was down 20%, 8 months where it was down 50%, countless moments of fear, countless predictions of collapse, countless emotional storms. And yet, had you stayed, you would have been richly rewarded. Because the psychology of money teaches that the price of wealth is volatility. The Bible teaches that the price of blessing is patience. And both are undeniably true. Principle number 2, the trap of never enough envy destroys financial peace. Let's enter the second principle, and this one touches the heart more than the bank account. It's shocking how quickly satisfaction turns into dissatisfaction. Give someone a $2 million bonus, and they'll rejoice until they discover the person next to them received $2,001,001. Suddenly, joy evaporates. Because here's a bitter truth. Capitalism is excellent at creating wealth, but it is even better at creating envy. That constant urge to climb higher, compete harder, and outrun people who aren't even competing with you, it's exhausting. Let's bring this to life. Imagine a specialist doctor. Let's call him Bill. Bill earns around $500,000 a year. He's in the top 1% of income earners in the entire United States. He drives luxurious cars. He vacations in beautiful places. He doesn't worry about bills. He provides a comfortable life for his family. By almost any standard, Bill is wealthy. But then, Bill buys a vacation home, and his neighbor happens to be Stan. Stan earns $10 million a year. He belongs not to the top 1%, but the top 1% of the 1%. Now Bill, once deeply content, starts to feel small. Suddenly, his success feels like failure, but it gets worse. Stan compares himself to Michael Jordan, worth nearly $2 billion. And Michael occasionally crosses paths with Jeff Bezos, a man whose wealth fluctuates by $75 billion in a year. What's the lesson? There is always a bigger fish. There is always someone richer, smarter, luckier, faster, higher. And envy is a bottomless pit. Scripture warns us repeatedly. Proverbs 14:30, a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. James 3:16, where envy and selfish ambition exist, there is disorder in every evil thing. Envy is not just a bad feeling, it is a destructive force. It pushes people to overwork themselves to exhaustion, spend money to impress others, buy luxuries they can't afford, fall into financial traps, chase risky investments, take shortcuts, even ruin marriages and relationships. People have gone bankrupt trying to match the lifestyle of someone they were never meant to compete with. Others, driven by desperation to catch up, have risked everything: leveraged portfolios, insider trading, unethical shortcuts, only to lose it all, and in some tragic cases, even take their own lives. Why? Because everything becomes distorted once you believe you're behind. Yet Scripture offers a quiet remedy: contentment. 1 Timothy 6:6 says, "Godliness with contentment is great gain." Notice contentment itself is a form of wealth. Contentment means you no longer measure your success through comparison. You no longer chase approval. You no longer exhaust yourself trying to prove anything. You give your soul permission to rest. Here's the truth people never admit. You will never feel rich if your heart is poor. You will never feel blessed if your soul is restless. You will never feel enough if you constantly compare. Financial peace begins where envy ends. Principle number 3, perspective shapes behavior. People aren't crazy, they're formed. At first glance, it may look like many people make bizarre, irrational, even outrageous financial choices. Some blow money on meaningless luxuries. Others bury cash under their mattress like it's still 1920. Some spend like tomorrow doesn't exist. Others save so aggressively that they forget how to live. To us, their behavior may seem wild, irresponsible, even insane. But here is the truth. People are not crazy. People are conditioned. People are shaped by the childhood they lived through, the home they grew up in, the trauma they experienced, the opportunities they lacked, the examples they followed, the fears that shaped them, the stories they were told, the struggles they survived, and those lived experiences form a person's entire financial worldview. Let's explore an example Morgan Housel mentions: the lottery. Lower-income households often spend hundreds of dollars every year on lottery tickets, far more than wealthier families do. At first glance, that looks irresponsible. You might even ask, why spend money on a lottery ticket when you can't cover a $400 emergency? But slow down. You grew up differently. You saw different possibilities. You believed in different outcomes. You felt hope differently. To someone living paycheck to paycheck, who has never seen their parents build wealth, who has never believed a better life was possible, who feels trapped by endless bills and limited opportunities, the lottery isn't just a gamble, it's a dream of finally escaping poverty, finally taking a vacation, finally owning a reliable car, finally paying debts, finally giving their children a better life. The lottery becomes a symbol of the life they see others enjoying, but cannot grasp. To them, spending $5 on a dream feels more hopeful than saving $5 toward a distant future they stopped believing in long ago. And here's the biblical truth. People act according to the story they believe about life. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Everything you do flows from your heart, your beliefs, your experiences, your wounds, your worldview. Let's go deeper. A person who survived financial instability in childhood often becomes a hyper-saver later in life. They might hoard money, avoid all risks, and fear investments. Why? Because they once lived through lack, and that memory burned into them. Another person raised in abundance may become financially careless. They think money always flows easily because they never saw hardship. Another person raised in a home where debt was normal grows up believing debt is just part of life. Another raised in a home where debt was evil grows up terrified of borrowing anything. Another person raised around entrepreneurs becomes entrepreneurial. Another raised around fear becomes cautious. Everyone behaves according to their financial upbringing. Even billionaires behave differently. A billionaire who grew up poor invests differently from a billionaire who grew up wealthy. One values getting rich. The other values staying rich. Same wealth, different psychology. That's why copying someone's financial strategy can be dangerous. Your heart is not their heart. Your fears are not their fears. Your goals are not their goals. Your calling is not their calling. Your experiences are not their experiences. Your story is not their story. As Christians, this principle becomes even more profound. Romans 12:2 teaches us, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." God is saying, your financial behavior must be reshaped by His truth, not your trauma, not your upbringing, not your past, not your fears. You weren't called to repeat generational patterns. You weren't called to imitate others. You weren't called to fit into the world's mold. You were called to rise above former cycles, break unhealthy habits, and develop a mindset rooted in wisdom, faith, and peace. Once you understand that perspective shapes behavior, you begin to judge less, understand more, compare less, focus more, envy less, grow more. Because now you see that people don't make foolish decisions out of insanity, they do it out of history. The moment you grasp this is the moment you stop copying people and start discovering the unique financial path God crafted for you. Principle number 4. Build for storms, don't waste life trying to predict them. Let's move to the fourth principle, one of the most important psychological truths about money. Most of the financial events that shape the world cannot be predicted, but they can be prepared for. Look back at history. The Great Depression, World War II, the dot-com crash, the 2008 financial crisis, COVID-19, global inflation waves, market crashes, housing collapses. Almost none of these were accurately predicted by experts, but they all changed the financial world forever. Author Nassim Taleb calls these events black swans, rare, unpredictable events with massive impact. The definition of a black swan is, it's unexpected, nothing in the past can logically predict it. It carries extreme consequences. People claim we should have seen it coming only after it happens. Human beings love hindsight, but in real time, we are blind to future shocks. Let's simulate a moment. Imagine it's Black Monday, 1987. The stock market drops 23% in a single day. What would you have done? Would you have panicked and screamed, "Sell everything"? Would you have felt sick watching your portfolio collapse? Would you have felt like your future was slipping away? Would fear have controlled your decisions? Or would you have remained calm? Would you have trusted the long-term path? Would you have seen it as a temporary storm? Would you have even bought more shares at a discount? Here's the shocking data. If you invested in the S&P 500 over the last 20 years, but missed out on just the 4 best performing days, your returns would be nearly cut in half, 164% instead of 291%. Just 4 days. You never know when those 4 days will come. You never know when the market will turn. You never know when recovery begins. Which means, if you panic and leave the market during fear-driven moments, you may miss the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Morgan Housel says, "It's more useful to prepare for what you can't predict than to try predicting what you can't prepare for." And the Bible teaches this principle with divine clarity. Jesus said in John 16:33, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." God never promised a life free from storms. He promised strength within the storm. Financial storms will come. Recessions will come. Market downturns will come. Unexpected emergencies will come. The goal is not prediction. The goal is preparation. It echoes Matthew 7:24-25. "A wise man builds his house on the rock, and when the storm came, it did not fall." Notice, Jesus didn't say if the storm comes. He said when. Faith and finances work the same way. Build savings before emergencies. Build character before wealth. Build discipline before abundance. Build wisdom before success. Build trust in God before pressure hits. People who fall apart financially during crises are often not destroyed by the crisis itself. They crumble because their lives were built on weak foundations. On the other hand, people who endure storms, recover from losses, bounce back from downturns, and remain grounded emotionally aren't the ones who predicted the storm. They're the ones who prepared their souls, their finances, and their minds long before it arrived. In the psychology of money, emotional preparation is more important than financial forecasting. In Christianity, spiritual preparation is more important than worldly prediction. Because faith isn't about knowing what will happen. Faith is about knowing who stands with you no matter what happens. Principle number 5, the seduction of negativity. Why pessimism feels intelligent, but faith builds wealth. Let's move into one of the deepest psychological traps that affects both finances and spirituality. Pessimism sounds wise. Optimism sounds naive. Faith sounds unrealistic. If someone gives a list of reasons the economy will collapse, debt is rising, nations are unstable, inflation is coming, new viruses are emerging, markets are overvalued, unemployment might increase, the average person listens carefully. They lean in. They believe it faster. Why? Because negativity triggers our survival instincts. Daniel Kahneman, The Nobel Prize-winning psychologist explains that humans are wired to detect danger more intensely than opportunity. He writes, "Losses loom larger than gains." In other words, humans feel pain twice as strongly as they feel pleasure. This is what Kahneman calls loss aversion. And it affects everything: investments, spending, saving, risk-taking, relationships, spiritual steps, career choices. This is why doomsday predictions go viral, and good news often gets ignored. If I told you the market might crash this year due to XYZ, you'd pay attention. But if I said technology is improving, the world is innovating, life expectancy is rising, poverty is decreasing, most would shrug. Why? Because progress is slow. Breakthroughs take time. Growth is quiet. Prosperity creeps forward silently. But disaster is loud. Fear is loud. Crisis is loud. Setbacks explode suddenly. Human psychology is naturally attracted to the dramatic, the urgent, and the alarming. Now here's where the Bible enters with laser-like clarity. Timothy warns believers. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Negativity is not spiritual discernment. Fear is not wisdom. Panic is not insight. Faith does not refuse reality. Faith responds to reality with God's perspective, not human anxiety. Look at how Jesus talks. He does not say, "Fear the storm." He says, "Peace, be still." He does not say, "Beware the lack." He says, "Seek first the kingdom, and all these things will be added unto you." He does not say, "Prepare for disaster." He says, "Do not worry about tomorrow." Why? Because fear blinds us. Faith guides us. Fear paralyzes. Faith directs. Fear exaggerates. Faith stabilizes. Fear makes you sabotage opportunity. Faith allows you to remain steady until blessing arrives. Here's the practical financial truth. If you listen to pessimists long enough, you will never invest, never build, never take risks, never dream, never grow, because there will always be something to fear. But the psychology of money and the wisdom of Scripture teaches, real progress belongs to people who believe tomorrow can be better than today. Not blindly, not foolishly, not recklessly, but with faith-driven optimism grounded in diligence, preparation, discipline, and trust. Hans Rosling once said, "The world is better than you think." And the Bible declares something even more powerful when Jeremiah 29:11. "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you." So here's the great paradox. Pessimism sounds educated. Optimism sounds childish. But faith sounds impossible until it becomes visible. And the people who transform their finances, their families, their legacies, their lives, are not the ones who fear the future, but the ones who build toward it. We've walked through 5 powerful principles, not only psychological truths, but deeply biblical ones. Let's bring everything together in one sweeping revelation. Money is not primarily a mathematical problem. It is a spiritual and behavioral journey. Most people think financial challenges come from lack of income, lack of opportunities, lack of intelligence, lack of luck. But Scripture and human behavior show the deeper truth. Most financial challenges flow from the heart, from impatience, fear, envy, discontentment, and emotional reactions. Ronald Reed, the janitor who became a millionaire, did not have the greatest job, but he had the greatest mindset. His quiet wealth wasn't built on brilliance, but on behavior. The psychology of money teaches that wealth comes from discipline, not degrees. Financial peace comes from contentment, not comparison. Long-term growth comes from consistency, not intelligence. Emotional strength matters more than mathematical strength. Perspective shapes every decision. Storms cannot be predicted, but they can be endured. Pessimism destroys more dreams than failure. Faith, wisdom, patience, and character are the true foundations of prosperity, and Scripture teaches the same. Proverbs 3, 5, 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and He will make your paths straight. Proverbs 22, 7. The borrower is servant to the lender. Proverbs 13:11. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Galatians 6:9. We will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom, and all these things will be added unto you. Everything financial is ultimately spiritual. Money reveals the heart. Money tests your faith. Money exposes your priorities. Money can make you fearful or make you wise. Money can enslave you or empower you. Money can become your master or become your ministry. And the psychology of money, when aligned with Scripture, teaches you how to walk in wisdom, clarity, discipline, peace, contentment, long-term vision, spiritual stability, emotional mastery. Not just to grow wealth, but to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and generationally. Because God is not trying to just bless your bank account. He is shaping your character, your patience, your stewardship, your faith, your self-control, your emotional maturity, before He increases your financial capacity. So remember this: a wise mind builds wealth. A patient heart preserves it. A grateful spirit enjoys it. A faithful soul multiplies it. If this message resonated with you, type in the comments, "I choose wisdom, not fear." Then, like the video, comment your biggest takeaway, subscribe to Christian Wealth Sanctuary, share this message with someone who needs clarity today. But we're not done. If you want your financial and spiritual life to shift permanently, watch the next video, Why God's Timing Feels Slow But Is Perfect for Your Financial Breakthrough. It will change the way you see patience, progress, and divine provision forever. See you there, and may wisdom guide your steps.